Yo, yo, yo. So, are you guys ready for the party tonight? First Ave. Who's been to First Ave? Yeah, it's sweet. It's one of the best venues in any place I've ever been. It's where Purple Rain was filmed. So all the live scenes in Purple Rain, that's First Ave. So come to the party. If you haven't seen, a lot of people know Purple Rain, the soundtrack. The movie's not that great, but it did put that the First Ave on the map, and it's a fantastic venue, and we're really excited. And we've got the posters that are designed by Aesthetic Apparatus, one of the best graphic design companies here, based in Minneapolis, who does fantastic work. They've done great posters for a lot of my favorite rock bands. I have like a dozen of the rock posters. The fact that they're doing our JNUC party posters is just amazing. They're all silk screened, so they're really special. None of the things that I wanted to talk about were this, but I'm excited about the party. So, welcome. It's actually a great, great privilege for me to be introducing Carl and Sachin. And it's interesting, Jamf, the relationship that Jamf has between like partnerships with organizations, like the partnership and the friendship part, like if there's a line, if we draw a line at Jamf, it's so thin. It's like pencil thin, light pencil thin. And I know this because I was on the other side. I worked at Adobe, and the relationship that Adobe and Jamf had was amazing. And it was unlike any relationship that I had with any other vendor. I was like, these guys are amazing. Like, I want to be their friends. And that's the shortest version of how I ended up from going from Adobe to Jamf is what I just said. And that relationship between Jamf and Adobe continues. I want to thank Adobe. They have been the sponsor now for 4 years for JNUC. So part of the reason why JNUC is free is because these great companies like Adobe, Code 42, they sponsor these events year after year, and we're able to make it free because of that. So I just want to give a shout out and thank Adobe for that. Woo! But I'm especially excited to introduce Carl and Sachin for a couple reasons. And one is that they're two of my favorite people at Adobe. Adobe's a pretty big organization, and we've got two of just some of the greatest guys here today, and they've come a great distance to be here. Carl came from Dublin. He flew from Dublin to be here, and Sachin came all the way from Delhi. This shows their personal dedication to you guys as customers and to our combined customers, and it shows Adobe's dedication that they would send them here to this event. So I really appreciate that. I've been lucky enough to know these guys for years. I've been lucky enough to travel to their respective countries and hang out with them on a personal level, and they're some of my favorite people. And I hope that not only do you ask them questions in our Q&A session, but you get to meet them on a personal level. Tonight at the party, tomorrow at lunch, give them your cards, get their cards, and get to know these guys because they're great. And so with that, I want to welcome Carl and Sachin. Where were you guys? Were you guys far away? Hi.
Hi. Hi, everybody. So this is probably a good setting to reveal something I've wanted to reveal for a while. It's nice and intimate. You guys won't tell anybody. So I work obviously for Adobe, one of the most creative companies out there. They have that as part of their identity. They enable creatives. But me personally, I'm not a creative, right? Pay special attention to that A, right? It's not that I'm not creative, it's just I'm not a creative. I'm not a photographer, I'm not a videographer, which is a little bit strange, right? That my personal identity is not, it doesn't really match with Adobe's identity. There's no synergy there. And this is something that I kind of reflect on from time to time. it's probably something that a lot of IT have to deal with as well, right? That your identity may not necessarily match with your company's identity or your company's product. And this can kind of manifest itself in different ways. You can get a little bit bummed out about it from time to time. And Jody, you spoke a while back, right, at one of the conferences about if you're not happy in your job, quit, right? And probably a lot of people quit that day.
There was actually a couple people that did actually quit when I gave those presentations. So yeah, where are you going with this?
Well, because everybody just quit. Because that's what I mean in terms of how it manifests itself, right? I mean, sometimes you kind of think, well, I don't share the same identity as my company. And then I went to an event last week, Adobe Max. We put on this big show for all of our creatives, and people come and give talks. And I've seen some kind of amazing work, amazing photos. And it kind of got me thinking, well then, where do I fit in this whole process? And I started to think about how these creatives were getting their software, right? How they were getting Photoshop, how they were getting Premiere. And it clicked with me, right, that they're getting it through the tools that we built at Adobe, like myself and Sachin. They're getting it through these tools. And so we are part of that creative process. We are the enablers. Us and Adobe who work on this team, but you guys as well, right? So it doesn't matter if it's Adobe's products, if it's Microsoft's products, Apple's products. You guys push them out. You make the software available to them. So we are the enablers as IT. We take something that's very complex and we make it simple, right? This is what Chip was talking about yesterday. There's a lot of complexity to deploying, updating software, making it all available, making it running. But we make that simple for them. That's our job. That's what we do. It's not always an easy job, right? Working with our tools isn't always easy. They're not perfect. Jamf's tools aren't perfect. But you perfect. But you guys deal with that, right? So when we look at the numbers for the Creative Cloud Packager, and this is directly what I'm product manager of, and Sachin is the dev on, you guys have created over 250,000 packages with CCP since it was launched nearly 2 years ago. And there's over 450 packages created every single day. And that may not seem high, right? But it's every single day 450 packages that are then deployed to X amount of systems, right? And if we take the averages for those, over 1.5 million packages have been deployed using CCP, which is an outstanding number. And that's really thanks to you guys. It's everyone in this room who's using the Creative Cloud Packager. It's everybody who's using AMI. And so when I talk about the creative process, we're involved in it. And it's you guys that are doing it, right? And so I just wanted to start off by just saying thank you for all of that. So with the Creative Cloud Enterprise, there's a lot of stuff that's changing. There's stuff changing around identity, storage, services, all of this, right? And again, it's a challenge for IT that it's becoming even more difficult, right? And it's about taking that complex solution and making it simple. It's giving the tools to the creatives that they want. And they want these kind of new tools. And when I was at Max last week, we had a lot of meetings with CIOs and CTOs. And the first thing they said to us is that our creatives have already come in and said, we absolutely want these tools, right? And the CTO or CIO just responded and were like, well, you're not getting them. And he was like, well, that's because we're an enterprise. We have specific requirements. We're not individuals. We're not users. We have specific requirements around storage, where everything goes, how identity is tied in. And so they're like, our creatives aren't going to get that. And so that's part of our job. It's part of my job. It's part of Sachin's job about figuring out a way that IT can be enabled to push out these tools, right? If it's storage, let's try and figure out how we can deal with that. Let's try and do something with on-premise storage. If it's identity, let's support your identity systems, right? So that's kind of what I wanted to go over today, is how you can continue to enable these creatives that are going to come to you, whether it's a transition from an earlier version of Creative Suite 4 or 5 or 6, they're going to come to you and they're going to ask you about these services, right? And there's a lot of value in the services. We spoke a little bit about that at Max. I kind of wanted to show a quick video as well, which kind of gives you an idea of the services. So your most creative moments happen when? You know, what would you think that the answer to this would generally be?
3 o'clock in the morning.
All right. Is it at your desk? Right. So we expect creatives to create only at their desk, right? And that's what these services are about. This is what the new mobile apps that were announced last week are all about. They're about where creativity happens. It's away from your desk. You should be able to capture it in its kind of first initial inception, and then you should be able to work it through, right? Not everything is going to be able to be done through your iPhone, but your iPhone has a very good camera. Why can't you start the creative process with your iPhone camera and then start to work it through, right? And this is what the mobile apps that were announced last week were about. So I just want to give like a little high level of what some of these services are and how they're going to be a benefit to your end users, right? And then I'll talk about how IT has to actually manage it, okay?
Photoshop Mix allows my workflow to be as mobile as I am. Being able to stand up, walk around the space, and everything's at your fingertips, just streamline the whole entire process. Selecting and erasing, enhancing, finding different looks at a touch of a button. I can make all sorts of different changes, and I never lose the original image. I can work on it anywhere, anytime.
Being able to work mobile and have it fully mixed in with my workflow has kind of made everything fun again. Using Sketch and Ink and Slide reminds me of when we just used to sketch in sketchbooks. It's not just a toy, it's actually integrated with apps we use on the desktop computer. It's just a blast to work this way.
When Lightroom Mobile came out, it made me realize how much of a real camera my iPhone has become. I have this incredibly powerful editing engine right there with me. I can pick them, reject them, do a little bit of light editing on them, and then go into Lightroom for desktop and make them look great. It allows that photo to transcend mobile photography and really become true photography.
For our class presentation, I'd done my drawings with Adobe Sketch using ink. You could switch between different tips, different textures and colors. It just makes the drawing experience so much more fluid. It really allows me to express my ideas wherever I am. It's just really rewarding.
So that kind of gives you an idea of what the mobile apps are, right? But there's other services that your users are going to look for, right? There is mobile apps, but then there's your assets. There's your files, there's fonts, there's Market, there's Behance, there's Typekit. There's all of these different services that users will hopefully be using, right? And it's about you as IT, how you manage them. And so let's kind of look at some of those aspects. Actually, while considering we just showed the video, who here has used Creative Cloud Packager so far since it was launched? Okay. Who used AMI previously? Okay. And who used the predecessor to AMI for CS4? Does anybody remember what it was called? No?
Not composer. Which Joker said that? No, there was an Adobe tool prior. He's going somewhere with this. There was an Adobe tool prior to the Adobe Application Manager Enterprise Edition, AMI, that was for CS4. Does anybody remember the name of it? No, not the installer, because we're going to try to give a prize away. Oh, yeah, so we're going to have to find another way to give this prize away. Do you want to tell them what the prize is? It's
yeah,
pretty sweet.
So, considering we just showed it in the video, it's actually Adobe's Ink and Slide. You do need to have an iPad, which I don't think would be a problem for this audience.
It's the first Adobe hardware.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Our graphic designer uses one. There he is. So James, graphic designer, uses it, and in order for you to walk away from having one too, you'll have to answer a trivia question. What do you got, Carl?
I got nothing.
You got nothing?
No. I have no contingency plan. I thought somebody would have known it.
You have no contingency plan. All right, so
We have somebody who has quite obviously Googled it behind you.
has anybody else Googled or just Bryant? You Googled it? So and you've Googled it. So you've got two people. Okay, so this is between Bryant and who is up there? Pat. Okay. Now you can't Google this because or maybe you can see who fast can Google something or Bing it. Smile. So, name one of the two founders of Adobe. Oh, John Warnock. All right. Pat, what did you say? All right. This is so awesome because he's right here. You can't reach there? Come on.
That's how you were facilitating.
All right. Congratulations. That was awkward.
Do a competition to see who could sketch me, but you didn't like that idea.
No. Oh, sketch Carl Gibson? Yeah, no.
The best sketch would win.
Yeah.
So the tools for managing these services. First one is the Enterprise Dashboard that we launched back in June, I think it was. Who here has actually seen or used the Enterprise Dashboard before? Okay, just a handful of people. Okay. So this is something that you will probably become much more familiar with, okay? And so it's essentially where you get an overview of your license entitlements. You can manage your groups. You create your groups, you assign users, you manage your users in here as well. It's where you can raise support tickets, which is a nifty little feature. So if you're giving out about the deployment tools or your creative has a particular issue, you can log a support ticket. You can track it through, see who updates it. You can also schedule your expert services sessions for your users as well. And the last thing you do in the dashboard itself is manage identities. And so this is a big topic for enterprises, right? For education, everyone. And this is where it goes from being individuals. Enterprises have specific requirements to use particular identity systems. And so there's 3 identity types that you can use with Adobe's applications. There's the Adobe ID that you'll probably be most familiar with. And these are just free accounts that people sign up for. That's their Adobe ID. And when we're talking about it in the enterprise, it's kind of ideal for freelancers and contractors, people who come in for a couple of weeks. You can just add them with their Adobe ID, and then they leave, and then they keep their ID. And so it's an easier way to manage it. Then there's enterprise IDs. And these give IT a little bit more control. So these are IDs that you set up for your users, you invite them, but you own that ID. And when that person leaves, you can reclaim it, you have access to their files that they were working on, you can reset passwords, so you have more control over it versus an Adobe ID. And then the last one is a federated ID, or single sign-on. And this is what most people, I think, will probably be using when it comes to Creative Cloud for Enterprise. Who here is using some sort of federation in their company at the moment? Okay, it's probably not as much as I thought. And so Adobe is bringing out support for federated IDs. We'll be working with whatever SAML 2.0 vendor that you have. We'll be working with them, so it should seamlessly work. And how that workflow actually looks is that, so your users are going to be invited through their ID. It would be ajenkins@plurist.com. They'll go to Adobe's website, or they'll go to the Creative Cloud desktop app. They'll enter in their email address, and it will pick up that it's a federated ID, and they'll be brought to some custom page that's specific to their branding. It would be Pluralist, it would be Nike.com, whatever it is. And so that experience then is generated by you, and that's how they sign in, right? So federated IDs are something that's been on the roadmap for a while, something that we've promised for a while, but haven't delivered. But it is coming, and it's coming in January. So for anybody who's using federated IDs, if you have any specific questions around that, well then come and talk to us afterwards. We can give you an idea of what that process looks like. But if you've already got an identity provider, well then it should be fairly seamless. So deployment is obviously the topic closest to our hearts, mine and Sachin's. And we've been doing some really interesting work this year, some really exciting work this year that I'm going to kind of show now. But Creative Cloud Packager, I think a lot of people have used it. It was brought in to replace AMI. We obviously shortened the name from AMI to CCP. And what it essentially does is it converts Adobe's proprietary RIBS technology into a native format, so it can be pushed out then by stuff like Jam Casper or Microsoft SECM. So it gives you the ability to create customized packages. If you have a complete agreement with Adobe, well then you can create packages with just a subset of those applications. You can create single app packages, whatever it is that you want to do. And then you can also add different configurations to them. So you can suppress the updates, you can redirect the updates to an internal Adobe update server that you would use OST to set up. You can suppress the desktop app. Those type of configurations can be done with CCP. And it actually downloads the products directly from the cloud itself. So previously, if you've been packaging up CS5, you would have been familiar with Adobe's dreaded licensing website. So now the packager actually goes and gets the products for you, pulls them down, caches it on the system itself. So if you're creating a package with the same products, it will just leverage that cache that's there, right? So this is what we kind of launched like 2 years ago, I think. It supports team and it supports enterprise. So now this year we've started to do something different and we've looked to move some of the functionality of the packager actually online into what we were calling SaaS Creative Cloud Packager. And the aim of this is, in its first instance, is an effort to move the packaging capabilities of CCP out of the desktop client into the Creative Cloud in order to offer faster, easier, and centralized packaging. And I say first instance because right now we're kind of replicating some of the functionality and there's a lot of benefits to that. But down the line we can do stuff that we could never do in a desktop client before. If you've got groups in your enterprise dashboard, well then you should be able to assign a package to a group, right? You update that package. If a user has that assigned to them, well then those updates automatically filter down. That type of control is what we can give in the cloud versus what we could do in a desktop app. So this is what the team have been working on. And what this kind of looks like, so it encourages IT collaboration. What we tend to find from having conversations with IT is that they work in silos, right? If you're in a global organization, each IT admin in their respective location creates their own packages. And they kind of work on their own, they put in their own applications, they may choose different update behavior. And so this, by centralizing this, will increase IT collaboration. It may move from one person in each location creating these packages to just one person creating these packages and other people actually just downloading them or leveraging them. So you'll see that you have kind of a view of all of the packages that have been created across your organization. So any IT admin in your org, you would see all of the packages that are there, right? So you get that visibility across your org. So if we have a look, you can see who actually created it, when it was created by, who created it and when it was created, when it was modified. And then you'll see what's in that package as well. So you'll see what applications are included in that package, what updates were included in that package. And so that obviously encourages standardization, right? You can be more confident that if more people are using this package, well then you're in more of a standardized environment, and stuff like uninstall, moving to different versions becomes a lot easier and a lot less expensive. So what we are doing is, so we will create the packages for you based on your entitlement. So if you have a single app subscription with Adobe, a complete subscription with Adobe, maybe a custom subscription, we'll create the packages automatically for you. So you'll go to your enterprise dashboard, you'll select deployment, and you'll see your packages already there for you. And then you'll just select download on the right-hand side. We'll ask you to confirm those settings that are in there. So you'll see stuff like, you know, this is a Windows version, it's English only, 64-bit, 32-bit, the type of licensing that it uses. And then you'll just select download, and then it just pops in down the bottom. All right, so it's already built for you, and then you can automatically just push it out down with Jam for make it available in self-service, whatever it is that you want to do. But we've kind of taken that complexity away. Even though it's simpler with CCP than it has been in the past, we still want to reduce the amount of clicks that it takes in order to get that software. What's Still important here though is that last one, control, right? IT still want control of how updates behave, what's in the products, stuff like your language. All of that is very important for you still to have. And so there will be default settings for your package that's created, but if you want to modify that, if you want to change the language, you can do it. If you want to change the behavior of the Creative Cloud desktop app, well then you can just change it here, right? You just save it, and then when you download it, all of those configurations will be downloaded with your package, right? What we've also found with the Creative Cloud is that although updates are extremely important, whether they're feature updates, whether they're security updates, the method for IT to actually be notified of those updates is still a blog that we're doing, that the enablement folks do. And so having a blog about your updates in this kind of new Creative Cloud era is a little bit backwards. So we wanted to kind of bring in a way that IT could be notified when updates come out, what's in those updates. And so in this view, you'll also see what updates are available for your package. We'll give you the information, whether it's feature, whether it's security, and then you can choose whether or not to add that to your package. And kind of the last benefit that we have is that obviously there's, with no desktop client, there's no requirement to open up any firewall ports. There's no requirement to have a Mac and a Windows machine in order to create your packages, right? They're already done on the back end. You just download them. We don't need you to open up any ports or anything like that. That's kind of the last major benefit that's there. Okay. So this is kind of the long-term view of where we're going with this functionality. We're looking to do the packaging aspect of it on the back end in early 2015. But we have been working and we have released something last week, the first version of it. You might have seen it on the blog. So we released the first version of this, and Sachin is actually going to give a live demo of it now. So everybody cross their fingers and go for Sachin.
Thanks, Carl. Hi, everybody. Today I will be presenting a quick demo of the new functionality or new features provided by Creative Cloud Packager. So remember those days like when Creative Suite 2 or 3 were released and enterprise admins looking for different deployment options and figuring out how to deploy them on the client systems. And so we have evolved from there, and Creative Cloud Packager being the new term, I will be directly jumping over to the demo and showing how easy it would be to get all those packages being deployed on the client systems within few minutes. So I got this offering for Creative Cloud for Enterprise. I just need to go to the Adobe Enterprise dashboard over there and go to the deployment tab over there. So you will see a deployment information or the latest Creative Cloud Packager being available over there. You just need to download it via download on Mac.
Are you guys actually using the Wi-Fi? You got the Ethernet at least. Okay.
It's it running. Okay.
I was like, you guys, Adobe guys are brave.
So I will simply launch the Creative Cloud Packager, open. And it should be just a few seconds, it should come up over there.
Don't you already have it installed, Sachin?
Okay, I already have it installed, so yes. Sorry for that, I mean, I just can close that out.
This has turned into like the peanut gallery over here, me and you.
So it will come over there, it will ask for the EULA acceptance, accept it out. And it will pretty soon initialize itself and then find out all the information for the latest products or updates from the Creative Cloud.
keep meaning to change that text from this will take a few seconds to a few minutes.
Okay. So here we are. I mean, let's directly jump over to create a package. I just need to select the organization, production demo I'm just choosing. And the options are either I can choose for the serial number license if I have a serial number license, or for demo part, I'm just going with the named license part.
So that is an important part to point out though, right? In that, even though I've been talking about the services and that type of thing with the Creative Cloud, you've still got the option of a serial number deployment that you're used to. So if you have environments that are locked down, if you don't want to use the services, you can still use your serial number, right? So it's an option that you have, named licensing or serial number licensing. You have both when you sign the agreement with Adobe.
I will proceed with the named license part. Here I will get the options of all the latest products over there. If we want the archived ones, the older versions of the products, we can directly go over there and click on the show archived versions. And it will show the complete list of archived versions of Adobe Creative Cloud products over there. So for the demo purpose, I am choosing just to demonstrate the functionality of the notification of the latest updates and product information. I will be choosing some representative set of products. Let's go for Acrobat. Then Audition. I'm purposefully leaving out some of the updates over there. So once the package metadata is available on the web, we will be showing up if notifications are available for, I mean, if new updates are available there or not. Bridge. And I'm also selecting an archived version of product over there. So at this moment, it's going and downloading all the product medias, and it keeps a cache over there. So if you are going for the multiple product creations, it will keep all the information. I mean, a product would be downloaded once only, and it will keep that information in the cache and reutilize later on for the creating other packages. So at present, it seems like I selected one of the products which is not there in the cache, and I will just deselect the bridge over there just to save the time. So this seems like pretty fast. I mean, it's already using the cached version of the products from local cache and will not download the products again and again. So if I want to create different combination of products, I can just rely on my cache, and it will save the bandwidth from the enterprise admin, and it will also save the time at the same time.
I think, Carl, you could have given the prize out during this part. I've just thought that up.
Thanks. Do you have another prize?
I don't.
What about your iPhone?
What about an unlimited drink ticket for the party tonight?
Do you really think, as an Irish person, if there was an unlimited drink ticket, I would give it away? Do you want to maybe just switch across to the dashboard and just talk through some of the stuff that's there?
So meanwhile, there is a home page where you can download the product metadata, I mean the Creative Cloud package directly from here. There is another tab available over there, packages, which shows the complete list of packages created for a particular organization. Along with that, there is a functionality available, the latest update available, which analyzes the package metadata, and if Adobe releases a new product update for a particular package, it will associate that information with product metadata and will indicate that there are new versions of products and updates are available over there. So let me just expand this out. it shows the complete information, like if the package was created for the Mac platform or the Windows platform, along with the BETNES and language and how many products or updates are available over there. To get the complete information, we can directly go to the view package details. It shows the complete information, what all family of products are there, which specific version is there, and what all updates are part of that particular package.
So in this kind of first phase, it's really about the information, right? You're still using the CCP desktop application to create your packages, but then you've got access to all of this information in terms of, who in your organization has also created packages, what was in them, what updates were included, if it's actually up to date. But the modification of that package still needs to be done in the desktop client itself in this first phase, right? And then we start to move on to the next phase where the packages are created automatically and your dependency on the desktop app actually kind of goes away.
So at this moment, for this particular product, a new update is being shown there, which was released once the package was created, and post that Adobe released a new update for that. I just click over there and it will show me the detailed information, what updates is available and descriptions. I mean, I can directly go to the desktop client and include this update and create my package to the date, So I will switch back to product. It seems like I accidentally selected a product which is not being available in my cache, so it will be taking some time. Probably we can keep it continue and switch back to.
We can look at it at the end.
Yeah.
But I think that, so you're just going to see that will instantly just go into the dashboard. You'll be able to see that package. You'll be notified that there's updates available for it. So that's what you would see after creating the package.
Yeah. So I will just switch back to the presentation. Over to you, Carl, and we can see the results later on. Behind the scenes, it's being downloading the products. So I will directly. Thanks, Carl. Thanks.
You've let them know that I'm going to thank them at the end. That's when you ruined it. So I didn't want to focus purely on the deployment side of things today. I wanted to give you kind of an overview of what's coming in the Creative Cloud Enterprise itself, so you can get a heads up, so that there's no kind of fear aspect of it. The myths kind of don't take over. So I think, this is really what the creative users are going to want, right? They will want some or all of the services. Which ones you give them access to is entirely up to you. But the idea is that we're going to give you the tools that you need to manage them, whether it's identity, whether it's the deployment tools, whether it's on-premise storage, that type of thing. The idea is to give you the tools that you need in order for you to continue to keep enabling the creatives that you look after. So there is some additional resources. We've got the CCP help page. We have the Twitter account at Adobe_IT Toolkit. And then I've been brave and I've actually put my email address up here. So you can also email me any questions that you have. I'm always open to it, right? I might change that email address tomorrow. So there's a window of 12 hours. So absolutely feel free to reach out to me. One of the things that we spoke about last year is that the Remote Update Manager tool was actually, the idea was actually born here. It was born at JNUC. Somebody mentioned that they had this difficult task. We came up with the RUM tool, we implemented it, and we released it. So we're a team that's accessible. If there's anything that you want to see changed from the current tools, you want to see developed a little bit more, well then let us know. And we can engage in that discussion, right?
For the record, that it happened at the JNUC party.
Oh wow! Okay.
So that's called mixed business right there. Whoa. Yeah.
So expecting loads of great ideas later is what you're saying.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I have my unlimited drinks voucher, will be passed out in the corner. So if somebody can take notes, that would be good. So, questions is always interesting at these things. So let's go.
Yeah, so I'll ask questions for the folks out in the audience. I'll repeat the question for folks seeing it on the video. before, I just want to first, this stuff is awesome, and I've actually, I'm a Creative Cloud member myself, and I consider myself a creative, and I'm really excited for what you guys are doing to see how these things are innovating and going further. You know, Lightroom on the iPad this year, when that came out, I think I stood on one of these stages and talked about in the future, when there's iOS applications that are going to be good enough for your pro users at your organizations to use, that are going to be so compelling that you want to make sure that it's on the device. Lightroom for the iPad is that. Yeah. It came, and it happened this year, 2014. I mean, I truly feel that it's an awesome tool. That's probably one of the best things that happened in 2014 in software is Lightroom for the iPad.
I think some of the apps initially that were released can kind of be regarded as playground apps. But I think Lightroom and some of the other ones that were launched last week as well are just, they're not focusing on completely replicating the desktop apps functionality, right? Because you can't do that on an iPad. The idea is just to introduce some of the features that take advantage of that device, right? Like the iPhone, the camera on the iPhone. Yeah. And then bring it into that workflow. Yeah, there's a cool thing that got released last week. It's the Adobe Shape tool that, like, you can use the camera and then it turns it, anything that you take a picture of, it vectorizes it. I'd give a demo on your face right now, but I'm going to take questions instead. Any questions for Carl or Sachin? Yeah. No, it's pretty firm. So the question was the timeline for the. So I had mentioned that we had spoken before, right, about federation, but not delivered it when we were meant to. So the date of January is pretty firm. We're pretty confident that we're going to deliver on that. Yeah, absolutely. The question was that Creative Cloud 15? As in 2015? So, I mean, it will be delivered in January, the federated ID. The app releases of kind of nothing. It'll be independent of the of any app revisions or anything like that. Yep. Ben. So I was gonna make a kind of really long rant after the question. Oh, do you want me to give you the mic then? Oh. So to recap that, Ben had a question. Go ahead, recap it. So I think that the task of taking all of the Creative Cloud products and breaking them down into single apps, different languages, different architecture, 32-bit, 64-bit, can mean that you ended up creating a lot of packages, right? And that, I think, was part of the problem. So with the functionality that we're providing online, that's not going to be so much of an issue, right? It should definitely make the workflow a lot simpler. So CCP does create uninstallers though, right? So when you create your package, you get the uninstalled PKG file, and the MSI can be used for uninstall as well. Yeah, say you have a big distributed environment with tens of thousands of people, and lots of other packages may be installed, and you want to uninstall those also before you can land it before. All right, Ben, I'm going to come up here and give you the mic. I'm going to get my exercise. Yeah. But yeah. So that's, I suppose that's the standardization aspect of it as well, though, right? It's because everybody pushed out different versions. Some would have used a CCP package, some might have used an Omni package before, some might have just done a direct install, and so the uninstall file that CCP produces may not kind of be a one for all type thing.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, if you could produce take any version of former Creative Suite or Creative Cloud and just remove it all, that would be a super massive, amazing time saver.
Maybe it's just on it's a lack of acknowledgement on our behalf that we think that there would be no reason whatsoever for you to ever remove any of our products.
No, no, no. We want to install new versions without they're very large.
No, absolutely, I get it.
There was a question way up at the top and then in the light colored shirt. Okay, so recap that first and we'll go to the second question.
So with this new functionality, is there going to be an API component so that people can tap directly into the benefits of package creation, updates, that type of thing, and just pull it directly into the JSS or whatever it is and not use the dashboard type thing, I presume. So it's something that we're exploring. There's no API right now. But I think it makes sense for us to look at it. It would be nice. Even the stuff that I seen yesterday that Zach presented on patch management, that type of thing, it would be nice as well if the Adobe stuff, the Creative Cloud products could be pulled in by that as well. So yeah, I mean, we're not actively working on it right now, but it makes sense for us to look at it once we have the functionality on our side delivered.
Second question.
Yes.
No. Repeat the question, please.
So once we have Federation, the sign-in aspect is going to happen into the desktop clients themselves for end users, but will Federation also work on the dashboard itself? And yes, it will. So Adobe moved last year to a new sign-in interface across all of the products. So you'll notice the Creative Cloud desktop app uses it, CCP uses it. So because of that functionality, well then, yeah, absolutely. So the enterprise IDs already work, and the federated IDs will work. Yep. Sure.
I got a question about the migration to federated accounts. If there's like serial numbers, and then there's a department ID, then there's Apple ID, and there's a bunch of different ones. Is there somebody we need to work with to get all those into federated?
So I'm not 100% on the question. So you're saying that you have to manage Apple IDs, Adobe IDs?
Oh no, not the Apple ID, just the Adobe IDs or even serial numbers. Can we, migrate all that into federated IDs?
So for serial number, really, it's a choice of how you deploy, right? If you deploy out using a serial number, you get less information back, your clients can be offline, and so that's kind of independent of federated, right? Those two don't really sync up. For the federated aspect of it, it depends on your identity provider to a certain degree, on how your users, do you mean how your users are actually uploaded and how they become present in the dashboard itself? Is that where the question is?
Well, right now, if the users are using their apps, they're basically having to sign in using their Adobe ID.
Right.
That's part of the question is some department uses like a department one, and then they created like the team accounts. Then there's some of them that still use serial number, and then there's some of them use something else. So I was wondering if we make it just one model, can we migrate all that somehow to just federate it?
Wait, microphone. It seems like you could hear, but this is a big room.
I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you sign your agreement for Creative Cloud for your organization, then you can make a choice of what you want to do. Right now, the option is doing the enterprise ID, and there's a couple other options, but the federated ID is going to add yet another in January. So,
yeah. So there, in terms of the clients in your environment that you've kind of already deployed to, there is methods of migration where you can like remove the serial number and instead force the user to be signed in. So there's absolutely those paths. Then in terms of the IDs themselves, there's no direct path from enterprise ID to federated ID. So that is one of the things that we say is if the plan is to eventually move your company onto federated ID, then you wouldn't move into an enterprise ID now. And that's because you need to claim a domain as part of setting up your enterprise IDs and as part of the federated ID aspect of it. So we kind of say wait for federated ID if that's what you're going to do. So I don't know if that answers the question fully, but pop up afterwards and we can talk about it.
Okay, any other questions that are in arm's length here?
So just as a show of hands then, in terms of the direction that we're taking the packager, removing kind of the desktop app component and moving it to the web, everybody in favor of it? Think it's a good idea? Yeah.
Yes, my question, I guess, I don't know if it's relevant. I know some of the systems I've taken over, they have been using personal Adobe IDs. Is there a good way to get out of that? And I don't know if this question will tie in. Does any of this apply to CS6 if we haven't moved fully to cloud yet?
So there is conflict workflows that are there so when you claim a domain, you can choose as part of that claim what happens to existing IDs that may be using your domain. So if it's @night.com and people have signed up with an Adobe ID for @night.com and then you move across to federated ID, in terms of what happens when that user goes to sign in and that type of thing, there's a conflict policy there. So you can kind of choose what happens. So you can say anybody with this email address automatically kind of gets kicked off and they have to nominate a personal account to move across to, so they need to change to Gmail or something and just get off the night.com domain. So there is that workflow there. And I can kind of walk you through it a little bit later if you want.
Yeah, I'll stop down.
Sure.
Okay, other questions? Way down there. Ba-bum-bum, ba-bum-bum.
Do you have your Fitbit on?
Ba-bum-bum. I do, I'm getting steps, and I'm going to beat you today.
Should have given you mine.
Okay, this is regarding the personal IDs. I know at the college where I work at, we just got Creative Cloud Packager about a year ago, and we're creating these packages both on the Windows side and the Mac side. We're pushing them out, and it's calling for updates. Students are logging in, instructors are logging in with their own personal IDs, and all of a sudden now it's tying that Adobe package to that ID. Have you seen this? Because I talked to our rep out of Chicago, and he said that the packager, we probably shouldn't allow students and instructors to do the updating because of that.
So when you're creating your package, there's no tie-in between the ID that you use to sign into the packager and then the package itself. There's no link there between those two, so nothing like that should be happening. When you create your package, are you choosing to disable updates or leave them turned on?
We're doing, we're setting it to where the administrator is doing the updates, so
right.
The update feature is grayed out for
Okay.
the instructors and
Right.
students. Because we've been, like I said, we have seen this on the Windows machines too. I take care of all the Mac stuff, but we have seen this on the Windows side too, where when it starts calling for updates and they go to sign in, it shows that somebody else's personal student or personal Adobe ID is tied to that package. I wasn't the one that originally set up our enterprise agreement. We have like 250 concurrent licenses through the Creative Cloud to where we could do the master collection.
So what are they actually signing into though? So is the Creative Cloud desktop app on their system and that's what they're signing into?
I think so. When it calls up updates, it pulls up a thing and wants them to sign in.
So that shouldn't be happening, right? So the only thing I can think is that the Creative Cloud desktop app was included in your package, and so that's where it's trying to initiate through the Creative Cloud desktop app. That shouldn't be happening. So you would have, when you select serial number deployment, which is the way you push it out, right?
Yeah, we do serial number. We put in our enterprise serial number that we got when we signed up. And then we put that in. We go and check. I know I had one of the techs from Adobe help me, and he walked me through it and was telling me that check mark or that radio button, you move it to admin.
Right.
So
there's also on the configuration screen, the very first option is the Creative Cloud desktop app. So I would think that perhaps that was enabled, and so when the package was installed, even though it was pushed out with a serial number, when you initiate updates, it's trying to go through the Creative Cloud desktop app. So ideally that wouldn't be there. So I think that that's probably what's happening, but we can actually have a look at the package with you and just see if that's what the issue is.
okay, because I have another question, but I won't tie it up here, so somebody else could ask. But maybe I can talk to you a little later about this other question.
So
we've got another problem going on there at work that been going on for a while. So.
Yeah, so we can sync up, and you've got my email address as well. So just drop me a mail, and we can even do a remote session or something.
I'll be here tomorrow too.
Cool.
And a Adobe session at JNUC would not be an Adobe session if Don didn't have a question to ask. 2 questions. Yeah, 2 questions at least. Yeah.
So I'm always fearful when Dan asks a question because it's always extremely technical and something I don't know.
These are going to be easy. First question is: are the packages that are created through the cloud going to be flat?
No.
Didn't think so. All right. Second question is: somebody tweeted and asked me to ask for Patrick Fergus. When will DPS desktop tools be installable via package using CPP at the login window?
So I actually got an email on this last week as well. The issue with DPS, right, is that they're using air, and that's where the problems are occurring. So I met with the DPS team a couple of months ago to see if there was something that we could do, because it's work required on their side that they need to take up, and they haven't committed to it, basically. So we can't add in support in CCP until they fix what needs to be fixed. Because otherwise, so when you deploy DPS, the failure rate goes up to 80% on the packages because of that custom air work and the custom hooks that they call. So that's where the issue is. So until they fix that, we can't include it in CCP. I can give you a name. Yeah. Because I mean, there is a case with support right now with the same issue, right? So I would like them to fix it, but they just haven't committed to it yet. Yeah. So we can absolutely talk and try and build up a case and see if they'll fix it.
Hey Carl, I'm all the way up here right now.
Woo! Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm getting my steps in. First off, shout out, thanks Don for using the Twitter to get additional questions. I didn't know that was allowed. That's awesome.
I'm wondering if that's my support issue in regards to DPS that I opened with David Johnson probably a year ago.
Okay. Yeah, we're just getting to it now. No, I don't know if that's the same. If it's the same support case that was raised last week, but it is the same issue, right? It's a continuous issue.
Right.
It's not something that we're unaware of.
I'll put Air and Java in the same area. Anyway, the other hard one is Acrobat, finally on the same page with Creative Cloud.
Are you specifically referring to the exceptions workflow in Windows?
Not necessarily, just packaging, making it part of the package, updates available, following the same update process, being able to install updates, suppress updates,
all right.
All the stuff that Packager says you can do that Acrobat ignores.
Yeah, so Acrobat is still the bad boy of Adobe. They still do their own thing. But we have, actually I spoke with them last week, and what we are looking to do as part of a release that they're doing is, as part of the cloud workflow, we will support Acrobat, and what we're trying to do is give you the top 20 customization options that the customization wizard offers you. And so when you have that package, you'll also, if we detect that Acrobat is in there, we'll give you those top 20 customization features. And then when you download it, you're downloading the MSI and you're downloading the MSP, And so you can just push that out right away. But if you need some of the other 400 and whatever features the customization wizard does, you can just modify that package that we've spit out. So we are trying to tie them a little bit closer together.
Okay, question 2 unrelated, but in regards to the packager, can I download just the updates? So if I have, like he had, you know, he had mentioned he has a number of versions out there, I do too.
Right.
I don't want to download an entire package for the entire reinstallation. I only want to download the updates, but I don't know where it's starting. So the current update needs to look at its current version and update it from there and move and take it from that version to current with just an updater.
So you can package just updates in CCP. So you don't have to include any of the products or anything like that. You can just pick your updates and then you've got an update package that you can push out. Is that the functionality you're talking about?
In the current version I have, if I try to uncheck just the app, it turns off the updates.
No, you can absolutely create just an update package.
Okay, maybe I'll try again.
Yeah, let us know. I mean, Sachin's probably the right person to ask if you're encountering difficulty, but I mean, that's a workflow that we have documented. It absolutely should be no problem. Because you can use CCP to create just update packages and push them out, or you can use Remote Update Manager to invoke updates on a client, or you can use the update server. You've got a lot of options, but CCP is definitely an option for creating update-only packages.
So we're getting long on time. There's a question here, and then there's one more, and then you're going to be able to bum rush the stage, as they say. Which I don't know if it's appropriate to say that. And ask them questions afterwards, and then engage with them, obviously, at the party tonight, as well as they'll be here tomorrow. You guys here all day tomorrow at for JNUC? Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
We appreciate that a lot. I hope this is a quick question. I see that he's written what looks like a manifesto on this piece of paper, though.
No, very simple. If I understood it properly, when I run CCP to build a package, it computes all the dependencies of the subcomponent, right?
Right.
So let's say I build today a package for Photoshop, upload it to JSS, and 6 months later I build another package for Illustrator that is also based on the same subcomponents, but over the time these components are newer. How do you deal with, or how can you guarantee, or how do you deal with a dependency nightmare?
Well, so you can modify an existing package, right? So, yeah. I mean, in 6 months' time, you would just go and you would modify that existing package with the newest updates, and then you would just upload it again.
So every time you release a new update, a newer subcomponent version, I need to rebuild all my packages?
Well, you just need to, I mean, you want that package to be the most up-to-date that it can be, right? So you would always just edit it every time you're doing like big updates. If it's 6 months cadence, whatever cadence you want to work on, you would modify that existing package, add in those new updates, and then upload it, yeah. But I mean, you've got other options in terms of how the clients are updated though, right? So the clients can just get an update-only package. You can run RUM on the clients. You can put RUM in self-service. So your clients are kind of taken care of, but yeah, I mean, you need to keep that package up to date. But there's no better way that I can think of than modifying an existing package. I mean, you don't have to create a brand new one, right? But if that doesn't answer the question, well then let me know. But I think, yeah, I mean, modifying the package is the best way to go.
Okay, so is there any possibility of not having to license CPP or in CPP for updates like in AIM? Our issue is that our offices, some of them only have CS6, and we have to recreate a package specifically for them. We can't use CPP to deploy to the same package of just their version of CS6.
So, is it that you're having to use Omni and CCP?
Mm-hmm. Because in Omni, they don't. It doesn't require the license for CS6.
Right, but I mean, you could go into CCP and package the CS6 updates.
It fails because the licensing is different, so it fails.
Well, right, okay. But you can still use your, so you have a CS6 serial number, right?
Right.
All right, and that's what you're using in AMI.
We have to package it twice because they're different serials.
Okay, and whatever option you select in CCP then breaks the license basically, whether it's named license or whether it's a serial number.
Right.
Okay. Sachin?
So for this, probably what we can do, we can create a complete package of all the archive products and latest Creative Cloud products. And I mean, we can utilize the serialized workflow for ARMY, but yeah, you are right. We need to create two packages. Probably the serialized package would be smaller one, and the whole deployment, the product deployment will go via the CCP package, and just the serial number deployment will go via ARMY.
So you can't use the, you can't just move them over to the new serial number though, the existing clients, no?
They technically didn't pay for it, so it's not legal.
They didn't pay for it?
Well, they're using CS6, so we're keeping them on that. We're not using, they're not using Creative Cloud because they didn't pay for that. But what we want to do is still be able to package everything in the updates in CPP without having to go into another program and create a separate total package for them.
All right. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Let us have a think about it.
Okay.
So we are past time. These have been great questions, and I really appreciate the audience engaging with. Please come up afterwards and talk with these guys, or send emails.
I did say that I was going to say thank you.
And
thank you.
Thank you, Adobe, for coming. Thank Carl and Sachin. You guys are great. Thank you.